where Giancarlo kind of like threatens this rear naked strangle, pulls Jay's head up, pulls Jay's chin up, both unpleasant situations, but is also breaking his posture, which is going to limit his ability to keep his knee to his chest effectively, and it's also just Jay's not even going to look at it. That's not what is at the forefront of his mind. So he's focusing on this threat of the strangle, so this is going to give him the hook. And if nothing changes from here, Giancarlo is going to score 3 points for this.
Body triangle from there. Right? As we talked about, it's going to be sometimes hard if our partner's good at timing us and stepping over our bottom hook as we move from butterfly hook over to our second hook. We move to a high ball ride first. Now see how we can reinsert our hooks from here. A couple ways we can do it. Usually, our partner will do a good job of keeping a left knee up high. Okay, if left knee is not up high, that's pretty easy to throw a hook in place. Okay, so left knee is always going to be up high. This is going to be strong connection of our partner's elbow to the knee, and we have to insert our hook from here. Now, a great option we have here is to use an extension of our partner's body to throw our hook in. Okay, now this will work on pretty much anyone. The only time we'll have an issue with this is if you have someone who's drastically who has a drastic size advantage. Where, for example, if she was trying to do this to me and she was trying to extend my body, I could potentially just curl in and keep my elbow and knee close up together. Where she could throw a hook just because someone's bigger than her. Okay, this is a move that will work on pretty much anyone unless it's a complete, unless it's a huge size difference. Okay, so my partner has a strong knee elbow connection best she can. I'm gonna take my head close to my partner's. If I want to start in a completely concave position where I have my two shoulders rolling forward, I'm gonna have a strong connection with myself. If I want to go from a completely concave to a completely convex situation where I start curled up and I end in a full extension. I can't start out here with my head somewhere and start to go into an extension and my hands and my chin to separate and there's no extension of my partner. Okay, I want my chin and my hands close together, so as I extend, my chin and my hands stay equidistant from each other the entire time. What I can't have is my hands and chin separating as I go bridge and my partner feels no extension. So I keep everything nice and tight, our chin over our partner's shoulder, our hands together. We start to extend our partner in a straight line, so let's just keep that knee up high. We can extend our partner like so. Now we can throw our hook over to get our hook inserted for the leg. That's the first one. Making sure that when we extend, we don't lose the connection of our chin to our hands. If I extend my head away, my hands in the same spot, my partner feels nothing. So we come nice and close. We stay close, and as we extend, my hands and my chin don't lose distance. We extend, hips come forward, and my hook comes in. Okay. Now, let's say we're having difficulty with this. For whatever reason, our partner's much bigger, whatever cases you feel you just can't do it. A second great way to insert our second hook is to use an insertion in the pocket of my partner's hip. Okay? And there are key insertion points all around our partner's body, which we use for various moves. In this situation, the insertion point is the pocket of my partner's hip. We'll talk about insertion point later. We're trying to strangle our partner when the insertion point is behind our partner's jaw. This one, the insertion is directly in the pocket of the hip. So from here, if I can't throw my leg up and over, I'm going to take my heel and put it in directly in the pocket of my partner's hip, like so. It has nothing to do with dexterity. If you feel like you can't get your heel to the pocket of your partner's hips, it's because your partner's hips are too high relative to your hips. Her hips are up here, you try to insert your heel to the pocket of the hip, it'll never work. Okay? And in this case, she's probably already stepping over your bottom hook, so nothing you're trying to do is going to work anyway. I have to make sure that my partner's hips are lower than mine, and I throw my partner's hip with my knee. Now, because their hips are lower than mine, doesn't matter who you are, you can be the most unathletic person in the world, you can always throw your heel to your partner's hip relatively easily. Now, I flare my knee out, I push down towards my partner's knee and in towards my partner's center line. So she has to keep that knee up nice and high. I slice down and in. We always insert our second hook. Now we're in position ready to go into all of our attacks from there. The two great ways, using one, a high ball ride, so we put initially lock. I can use an extension, like so. Where now, as I go throw the hook in, I get a strong extension. And as I go throw the hook, it's hard for her to step over my bottom leg because I have such a strong extension of her body with this back heel of my right leg. So she has to step over my bottom leg. I have a sticky hook initially. If my partner's curled up, like so, now there's no extension. You can't really tension right through your partner's leg from here. So you get a back heel with your right leg, your partner can spring the hips and step over your bottom hook pretty easily. Okay? She's done. But when her body's fully extended, now she can step over the bottom hook. It's not an easy thing. That's why this works. The extension and throwing the leg over is effective for that reason. Now, if you go to insert our second hook like so, here, we go to the pocket of the hip. We go down towards the knee, in towards the center line. When our partner step over the bottom hook, as I'm doing this, I can always close that circle. Okay? The only way she steps over the bottom hook is she brings her hip down, and as she drops the hip, it allows my leg to slide in. So by the time my partner can attempt to step over my bottom hook, now we're going to close the circle around my partner's two hips. Now she goes to raise her hip, and always close that circle. Now she hooks her past the place, and we're ready to go to attacks once again. So use an eyeball rise, either one extend our partner, and throw our legs up and over. With the extension of the body, and the tension ring for our partner's leg makes it hard for them to step over the bottom hook in the amount of time. And the second one is using a key insertion point in the pocket of my partner's hips to slide in and down towards our partner's knee, in towards the center line. So when she step over the bottom leg, she gives you the second hook, and before she gets step over, we have a strong connection of our 2 feet and legs together, and makes it hard for her to step over the bottom hook.
Controlling his hips. Okay, just a little bit. Yeah, you totally control. You don't want to keep this knee open because you don't want him to try to roll that way. Okay, you close and you have the arm control. Now you have a very good control. Okay, now even if I release this one, look, it's hard for him to escape the hips. He cannot escape. He maybe can't turn that way, but I can easily pull him back here with this choke. Okay, now I'm gonna close. So this hand turns to me, and then I'm gonna close my elbow behind and my forearm behind his back, and I force him forward. Okay, and always with my head tight here. That's another principle that is very important here. If I force here and I release my head, he's not gonna tap. He's gonna be able, look, to escape even if I put a lot of power here. So my head must be. Even sometimes I get here, I open a little bit to get the hand, but then it's important that before I apply the choke, I come back with my head, touching my chin, touching my hand here. And then I just confirm the grips, and I don't put pressure, I just try to adjust myself, and then I start to put pressure. Okay, it's very important. Look, my head is really tight here, it's not even an inch up here. So before I put pressure, head down. That's very important. There's no rush in putting pressure here. Okay, here, if you put pressure here, maybe you will push your elbow up. Yeah, you're gonna lose, okay, the choke, because in order to make this choke over his chin, you gotta be pretty close to down to his chest here. If you start to push up, then you're not gonna be able to do anymore. So once you get here, okay, you push down your head, push my elbow up. It's much harder, right? Because I'm forcing your head forward here, and you don't have this movement of opening your chest and push, right? Okay, so Once I get here, and I'm able to control pretty well his hips, release the hand, turn your hand to you, close your elbow, get now really as low as you can your head, and then use not just your arm but also your head.
And we try to remove from our mind the concept of scoring points, looking for the second hook, and doing everything we can do to get the second hook. And on top of that, even if you're not competition focused, because every instructor teaches from the framework of these standard positions, typically speaking, you're still going to see out of the non-competition gym situations where guys are looking to pull their opponents on top of them to secure hooks. So what I mean by that, if I highlight here with a single hook in, because I'm so eager to get my left hook in, you see situations where I'm pulling people on top of us basically to try to secure the second hook. So what I want you to remember is that, so this is a great position. We are on top of our opponents here, and we are making them carry our weight. If I pull Tyler on top of me, now he's not carrying my weight, or if anything, I could be carrying his weight in that situation, especially like we explained earlier. Tyler can put his feet on the ground. He can sort of dictate to a certain degree where we find ourselves positioned because his feet touch the floor. Mine do not as a part of that back control. So he could generate pressure, put his weight directly on top of me here. And again, if he can find strong grip fighting sequences from there, he can survive quite a bit. And he can even fatigue us. His lateral hip movement with his feet on the ground can fatigue the legs, and he's in a strong defensive position to hand fight. So my point is, why do we remove ourselves from a position on top of our opponent where we can make them carry our weight in pursuit of the submission? Why are we removing ourselves from this position, right? And again, if we go to pull our opponents on top of us in situations like this, what can happen is also we can fall off of the back. So if I'm on Tyler's back, even single hook, and he's able to generate 4-point quad style pressure, I can shake off the top. And I would even argue that another limitation of the competition setting would be a situation where Tyler's in a quad pod here, 4-point. And because I want to score points, I start thinking about lining hooks in here. And sometimes I'll get my hooks, 1, 2, 3, we score our points, we fall off, we end up on the bottom, and we've secured the points that could win the match, but we've been shaken off the top. I would argue that there's much better things you could do in that situation than try to pursue hooks to secure points, or hooks because that's the framework from which you understand the pursuit of submission, right? So let's have a look at what we could do if we had a single hook. So what I want to argue for is that Tyler's quite strong by these elbows and knees are close together. He can have his hands on the floor there. His hands on the floor, he can generate height. Obviously, if he can't put his hands on the floor and he's stuck on his forearms, he cannot generate upper body height. With his knees here, close to his elbows here, they are in a structurally strong position to now use his feet to generate height here. But I want to show them if we do something called a diagonal right style of pressure, where we can lift one arm and one leg. Now, it's going to be very difficult for him to generate height in any structurally sound way. So if we have a single hook in here, I'm looking across my feet so that I can apply hip pressure here. This single hook pressure is tough for Tyler to shake off in the direction I'm applying pressure. Sure, if I was off to the side here and start dropping, we can start pulling off. But we're applying diagonal pressure here. Even if Tyler's really low here, we can start applying this pressure here. You can already hear it when he's breathing. As I apply pressure into his upper body, it's his head that starts to absorb weight from down. So what we want to do, if we want to generate height, these hands here. And as he goes to do that, we look to lift that diagonal pressure off the ground here. So look, I got complete control. Tyler's trying to move. We've got control here without looking for point scoring positions. So look at how so we break them in. So let's look at it from this situation. He's on his hands, he's on his knees here, and we got a single hook, and we're on top. We're not looking to jump over here. We're looking to keep our feet crossed and our knees pitched together. This is quite strong. And we can actually apply hipping in pressure here. But he's pretty structurally sound with his hand here. So to create that true diagonal pressure, I want to attack the weakest part of the elbow, and that'll be the interior. You can see Tyler's already collapsing here. Wherever he wants to go from here, we've got complete control. We can even encourage him to pull onto his left hip by flaring our right knee. And now, that's the camera. We've landed in an excellent position here. We've collapsed him, we've twisted up his spine, and by the nature of the way he fell, we've got our wrist right here. We can even come around and use the head control as well. So I'm still applying hip pressure in here. So if Tyler's trying to move, I would argue this control is better than any IBJJF point scoring control position. And you can see Tyler has to use an incredible amount of energy to escape. There are no real technical escapes you can do from here. If Tyler stays exactly where he is, we've split the legs, we've got weight on the hips, we've got a wrist right, we even have our secondary hand free, so it looks like we're just going for strangle, but yeah, we're elevating and applying chest pressure in. So he has no explosive capability from here. You know, I'd much rather have someone here in any rule set of combat sports than any sort of back take that involves me pulling Tyler on top. Rather than hang out every day, I can't fatigue him from this position. I can't even make him uncomfortable. So one more time. One more time, this is for me, not for you guys. This is doing crossing Tyler here. But again, with that single hook, I'm staying square on the hips here, so I can use my secondary leg to square myself back up. So I use my knee to square my hips up. We cross our feet here, I'm back healing, and hip again. So compare the difference here. If I just control single hook and a seat belt, Tyler can 4-point easy. And now we're carrying a ton of weight, not fall off, he can even start shaking us up. Compare the difference, so we cross our feet and start hipping in. So Tyler tries to get up, I'm going to use my hands. Really, really hard to do that. That's not even me using my hands here. Obviously, if we stick to the diagonal control as he starts building height here, and we generate that pressure to control him from this position. So now I would argue another example when we're approaching turtle, that there are much better options than kind of what you've been led to believe based on the point scoring structure of the sport. We want control of this submission. This is going to be a much more high percentage path than the traditional point scoring framework of merely looking for hooks any